And greetings, Air Acolytes, and welcome to Season 3 of Avatar The Last Airbender here on Breaking Wind. Yes, we are into the home stretch of the original OG series, and today we are looking at the episode The Awakening of Book 3, Fire.
Yes. I can't believe we're at the third season already. I'm excited.
I know. And we
But I
have
can't believe we're there already.
we have 20 episodes to go, and then this darling, wonderful series will be wrapped. And then
But
we've
thankfully,
got more coming up after that. So yeah, well, I'm already here. All right, let's talk about this. So there's a small time jump because when we last left Aang, he had basically been, well, there's no other way of saying it. He got killed by Azula, who fired lightning into his back like a little chump. Azula's a dirty fighter. But Aang awakens, and oh no, where am I? Which of us have not awakened that way, wondering where am I and what happened last night? But Aang wakes up, and he is on a Fire Nation ship, and he is very concerned about that. So
as you would be.
As I would be as well. I think that his concerns are justified. But whenever he gets up on the deck, he is shocked to find not only Momo, but also all of his friends, including Pipsqueak and the Duke. And Katara and Sokka's father is there as well. So Aang is notably confused and passes out again, as one would do in that situation. And then we are introduced to the greatest love story of all time, because we find out that Zuko and May are sweet on each other. And you know what?
Yeah.
I would ship this. I think these two are perfect for each other because both of them have terrible attitudes. May is low-key my spirit animal already. And Zuko, I just think that this would be a couple who, whenever you bring their bitterness and their just absolute disgust for everyone around them together, I think that it would morph into a great romance for some reason. And they would just be that old couple sitting on a park bench watching people go by going, oh, he shouldn't be wearing that. Oh my God, look at her. Oh.
Well, from my perspective, and remember, I'm only watching it for the first time, I felt that relationships, maybe you've given something away, maybe you haven't. I would have felt that relationship's very temporary.
Oh, you think so?
Well, just from my perspective right now, I still don't know where Zuko is. I know he's made a very poor choice. But in this moment at the series, I don't even know if he's playing a long game or what. So I'm still not sure whether he's going to turn good.
Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see.
We'll see. But
I will say this relationship has some downs and downs. I don't want to say ups, but there are a lot of downs to it. But yeah, like I said, these two are my number one couple because, first of all, you kind of get the idea that the writers were trying to put Zuko and Katara together there for a while, and to me that just was not working. So this right here is the love story that cannot be topped by any other love story in Avatar, except maybe this one. Because there is definitely some this is what we call a non-traditional family. They're going to adopt a small child, and they're going to go open up a tea shop somewhere together.
I'm happy for them. I wish them all the best.
The Earth King and Bosco, I wish you many, 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 many long and wonderful and freaky deaky years together.
Yes.
So Aang reawakens and is told that they like his hair, and he's shocked that he has hair. I just thought Aang was bald. I didn't really realize he even had hair, but there we go. Right now, honestly, he kind of looks like M. Night Shyamalan's Airbender. Just like, oh, wow. Could you shave your head a little bit better, please?
Yeah.
But yeah, you'd said something about that earlier before we got ready, because you said, oh, it always seems like we choose the same image. You make the thumbnail and I choose the images for the show. And both of us chose that with Aang doing that. And you made an observation that I think was actually really good.
Shocking.
Yeah, I was gonna let you say it, so I didn't steal it on my own. Or do you even remember what you said?
No, I don't.
You said
once it comes out, it's gone.
You said that This image perfectly summed up this episode because for Aang, everything is different now, even himself.
Wow.
And it actually goes deeper than what you think, because obviously Aang is dealing with some trauma. This poor kid's just been traumatized throughout the entire series, and now he's more trauma than he's ever had before. But it's deeper. There's more.
Yeah, well, I would say also to that, because the writing is so brilliant on the show and with really good storytelling, they sometimes do give you all the themes that are going to be out throughout the season in the first episode. So if I was to guess at this point, this is a season where Aang's going to have to learn to adapt constantly. There's a lot of things that he's going to have to get used to, things not being the way he is used to being.
Yes, they were dropping a lot of foreshadowing in this episode, and especially in this scene right here where Katara was waterbending Aang's injuries, trying to heal him. There was a lot of subtle hints being dropped, like
okay,
yeah. So I don't know, maybe go watch that again, or maybe don't.
Go back
maybe
to that shot again. Look at the animation, because it doesn't look like it actually tickles, does it? And look at her concern. She's so concerned about him. And just
the facial expressions in this show are just so great, and they do it without it. I don't want to say they don't exaggerate the face, because obviously they do, because the eyes are bigger than normal and everything. But they don't. They don't do the cutesy huge eyes that we see so much on. No, these are very human looking representations, and I really love that.
Did the animation get a little bit of an upgrade?
It does seem that way, doesn't it? It really does, especially from the very beginning, because it just seems like everything has been just brought up to 11 this season. You remember Statler and Waldorf from the Muppet Show?
Of course, it's my aim to be one of them.
Yeah, so there we go. Statler and Waldorf are back. I've heard a few people complain about these old women, but I've studied ancient theater and the muses and things of that nature. So I'm watching this thinking, hey, they're doing Greek theater right here with the two muses talking to the audience, telling them what's going on, except they're doing it like almost like a news show. I really dug that. And they're super creepy. The fact that they're both talking at the same time, it's off-putting. But what is happening here is basically they're welcoming Zuko home. And it's kind of
looking good. He's got the bit of the man bun back again. So
we again, Aang has hair, but look who also has hair. It's Zuko. Zuko's got hair. But yeah, I really like the fact that when Zuko returns, the audience is overjoyed. They're happy he's back, and this is feeding his delusion that his decision was the right one. And I love that.
It's a weird thing, because when I'm watching it too, I'm getting the impression that he doesn't respect them or really appreciate their admiration. I feel like he's become, like, in a way, maybe he's so dark and it's all just washing over him.
It is washing over him. I will agree with that, because I think it's guilt. I think you see the guilt a couple of times.
I felt like a little bit of resentment in there as well. He resents
Could be. We go back to the Fire Nation boat that the Water Tribe has captured, and Sokka's got a plan. He says that we're going to do a smaller invasion of the Fire Nation during the Day of Black Sun, and they've got an ace in the hole because everybody thinks that Aang is dead, and Aang is not dead.
Brilliant plan. It's a good plan, dude.
Aang he's here, and he's a little hairier than usual. Aang, however, is kind of upset by this, because he has been in a situation where everybody's thought he was dead, and the world suffered because of it. And so he does not like this idea.
Good idea. Great idea.
It is a good idea. Again, Sokka being a masterful tactician here. And Katara throwing a little shade on her dad whenever she says, we have a new plan. And she goes, it's Sokka's plan. Yes, it's Sokka's plan. I really like the fact that she's sticking up for her brother there, saying, he needs the credit for this. And two, I really like the emotional payoff to her being crappy to her dad.
Yeah, it lands because of that scene later on.
Yeah. I was really, I don't know. I was kind of like, well, what the hell is what the hell is Katara's problem? And then they have that scene later, and I'm just like, oh, okay. I especially that one scene where Aang is like, "What are you mad at your dad for? What are you talking about? I'm not mad at my dad." I'm like, "Oh, yes, you are." Um, before you can say action sequence, the Fire Nation shows up and they're like, "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be on a different course." And they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're not. We gotta
Everything's
we gotta
fine here.
yeah, everything's fine. Everything's fine. How are you?
Yeah.
How are you?" But of course, I thought it was really good the way these two guys covered, because they almost got away with it if they hadn't have brought in the admiral into it. But our little lie detector realizes that they know and that they're going to attack, and so she metal bends the heck out of them. Which I love that quick reminder that hey, Toph can metal bend now because she is the greatest earthbender in history.
She is metal. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I love Boomy, but Toph could beat him. Toph would beat him like a baby. I just absolutely. It wouldn't be much of a matchup. It would be like, oh, so yeah, I think that you can. Oh, you just beat me. Oh my god, I'm bounded. What do I do? Then he would try to earthbend with his tongue, and she'd like shove a big piece of metal in his mouth. And Aang would be up in the audience laughing because he would. So there's this pretty good battle between ship to ship, with Katara being an absolute unit and getting the Water Nation vessels, the Fire Nation vessels pretty much hammered at one point. And Aang wants to help, and Sokka says, no, we need to keep you secret because you're a secret weapon. If you go out there and you're not secret anymore, you're not a secret weapon, you're just a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, sometimes in situations like this, Aang is a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Bratty. Oh, I know I need to be the guy. But here it's completely understandable. I get where he's coming from. And I think that's why this episode is so quality, is that Aang's motivations make sense. They're not just a guilt. I'm a kid. Guilt. It's he has reason to be acting this way. You understand his anger. You understand his frustration.
Everybody's perspective is understandable in this. Like Sokka's, Zuko's perspective, he made a horrible choice. Everything is, you get where they're coming from.
Absolutely. And let's do a little Deus Ex Serpenta here, because a sea serpent comes out of the ocean and gets the Fire Nation.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird. It's just random sea serpent.
It's convenient.
It's convenient. I would have liked it better if they'd gotten away on their own skills, or even if it had been a little bit of luck. That's fine. But
I'm happy to let that moment go.
That was a bit much, but that's okay. That's the one flaw in this episode.
Credit, these things are going to happen occasionally.
Yeah. So Zuko is enjoying a turtle duck, because you just can't have regular animals on Avatar World except for a bear, apparently. At least I'm assuming. Yeah, I don't know. It's a bear and a man. Maybe it's a man bear. I don't know. Maybe that's why the Earth King loves him so much. Hey, you know what? I don't judge. Fine, go with who you're happy with. But Zuko and Azula are in the garden, and Azula is strangely sincere to Zuko, saying
that's
she's
what we weird, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, are you genuinely trying to reconnect with your brother here? Or is this another ruse?
It does seem like she's trying to redeem herself, don't it?
It does. It's kind of so off-brand character what I'd seen up to that point, that, like Zuko, I would be trusting a word coming out of her mouth.
No, but you know what? I could understand why Zuko would, because he misses home so much. He wants his family so much. It's Azula and Ozai are terrible, but they're the only family he has, and he just wants to belong. So I understand why Zuko made the decisions he did.
Yeah, he's blinded by certain facts just because he wants it so badly. Yeah.
This next scene, I thought, was one of the most brilliantly written scenes that the show has done so far. And that was when Katara is trying to convince Aang to go with her and Sokka and Toph into town to get food. And he talks about how he doesn't want to cover up his arrow. He wants to wear it proudly, and how he has let everyone down. And then he delivers a line that I thought was so great, because I realized at that point he and his nemesis have met each other halfway. He says, I need to regain my honor. And then we cross cut to this.
Yes.
That
That was
such a great scene.
What a transition.
I loved that so much because I don't know, you often see where the bad guy gets a little bit of humanity, but here we're seeing Aang lose his because he's done with it. He's done with the passivism. Is that a word? Yes, it is. I just made it up. I said it. It's a word. He's done with that. He's done with the nonviolence. You really get the sense that Aang is ready to take a step he's not going to be able to back up from. And when they cross cut to Zuko, I thought, wow, that is, as George Lucas would say, poetry. It's circular. It begins at the beginning and it ends at the end, or something like that. I don't know what he said. I didn't watch it. I just saw a meme one time.
What it does, it starts to blur the lines for the audience of what defines a good person and a bad person.
Yes, and
decisions. Yeah.
How long can a good person hold out whenever nothing but bad happens to them? I think that's brilliant. So we get the emotional payoff to Katara whenever she finds out that Aang has left her. It sends her almost into this emotional avalanche where Aang left. He just left, and I can't believe he just left. And the dad just says, "This isn't about Aang, isn't it?" And she tells him, "I don't know why I'm angry with you. I understand why you went. I understand that you had to. Why do I feel this way? Why am I so angry with you?" It was such a human thing to do because often these shows want to explain everything, like have all characters come to some kind of emotional catharsis where they understand why they're feeling that way. And Avatar says it's okay not to understand why you feel that way. It's okay to be mad at someone. I was mad at someone. I don't want to go into specifics, but I was mad at someone I had no right to be mad at. And somebody asked me, why are you saying these things? Why are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, because there was no reason I should have been mad at this person, because I'm sure that if this person had done things differently, if he'd had a choice to do things differently, he would have, because he didn't have a choice. And it just made me so upset with him, like almost to the point where I'm like starting to tear up right now thinking about it. And
I
understood it. I understood it. No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. When I'm mad at you, I'll say F you. I don't care. You know?
Yeah. Oh no, you're saying it a more uniquely Australian way.
Oh yeah. You have taught me much, Master Yoda.
No, but the truth and the honesty in that scene and the way they write it is just, then you've got to say, this is not great writing for a kid's show. This is top tier writing for any form of the medium that's being on TV. It is like, in that year, this was made, 2007, 2008? I challenge any top tier dramas of that time to deliver some of the quality of writing that we're getting.
You've really hit the nail on the head, because not only was the animation given an upgrade, but I think that the writing was too, because the writers knew that they were in the home stretch. The creators knew that we had one more year of this story to tell, and they brought it. They brought their A game to almost every episode of this season.
Oh, you're getting me excited.
And the whole season is just a ride. Aang, in the meantime, is flying off to go do who knows what. He's just mad and he's just flying. Why not?
Makes him dangerous. I always say with Aang, when he's like that, he is his most dangerous.
I completely agree. And speaking of dangerous, Zuko goes to meet his dad. This shadowy silhouette that we've been seeing for 2 years with Mark Hamill's very deep and very evil voice.
So we don't get him in the first episode.
No, we don't. Which, the live action series is its own thing. That's fine. I love Daniel Day Kim as Ozai. I know the show made some questionable choices, but that is definitely not one of them. No. But the thing that I found most interesting the first time I watched this is when Ozai steps out of the shadows, he's genuinely beautiful. It's
Yeah.
almost Luciferian at a point, because the Bible says at one point that, or some, I don't know if it's in the Bible, but certain belief says that Satan is a beautiful person, and I think that makes Ozai.
Wasn't
What's
it
the
said in
word
the
I'm
Bible
looking
he was the
for?
most beautiful angel?
Yeah, he's the most beautiful angel, and Ozai is, I mean, hubba hubba. Look at that.
Yeah, this guy is getting some hits on his dating apps for sure.
He is. People are not swiping right. No, they're swiping
No.
left. I don't know whichever direction they swipe.
I have no idea. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah, I don't know if they swipe left or right. He lied. Anyway, I just can't remember which is which. But yeah, I mean, he's not at all what you expect him to be. He even looks fatherly here. He looks like he could be somebody who would love Zuko.
He looks fatherly, and in a way,
he
he's
says
acting
very
fatherly.
And he says very kind things to Zuko as well. Again, it is not at all what I was expecting from Ozai.
Not at all.
I loved it so much. So Aang, trying to get around a blockade, goes into the ocean, parasails for a little bit, which I thought was really cool. It's a cool combination of his air bending and his water bending. And then he kind of crashes and he floats around like Jack and Rose on Titanic, just clinging to a piece of wood. And then you must go to the Dagobah system and find Yoda, the Jedi 100%. Master. So yeah, we got a Deus Ex Serpent. Now we got a Deus Ex Roku. But yeah, he just shows up and tells Aang that, you haven't screwed up. I'm the one who screwed up. I'm the one who let this war happen. You were born to carry my mistakes. And I love
that moment.
Because you understand at that moment that Aang is the victim of what can only be described as generational trauma. He is carrying a burden that he never asked for, that was thrust upon him by those who came before him. This is no different than, everyone in the family has become cops, or everyone in the family has run the store. You have to run the store too. And Aang's just like, I don't want to run the store. I just want to play rock and roll, which Aang probably totally would play rock and roll. But yeah,
it's the elephant in the room that we've never really discussed in the show. So the fact to actually deal with it, I just go, finally, this is kind of, and the way they handle it, like way more. This is way more complex than it needs to be, and I appreciate the fact that it is.
Yeah, this scene, however, brings me to my second, as our friend Sean Ferrick would say, are my second down to the episode.
I can't do the accent.
My second down. I can't do it either. Nobody does Irish like Sean Ferrick. But this is one part, and this is so petty, but every time I see it, it just kind of annoys me, and that is the appearance of Yue.
Yeah. Okay. What's your problem with it?
Okay. Aang really didn't know her. And I know she became the moon, and that's great, but I feel like he had no real emotional connection to her.
They weren't really hanging out with each other.
They
at the time,
weren't.
Were they?
I feel like this was done more for the audience than it was for Aang. And to me, if Aang was going to speak to anybody, it should have been somebody like Gyatso. Gyatso should have shown up and given Aang a word of encouragement. I think it would have been a lot more of a motivator for him.
Yeah, it would have made more sense.
Yeah, sure. I don't have a problem with Yue. That's fine. It's just I just thought it was a strange choice to have her motivate Aang.
Yeah, it just feels very kind of like, and you're okay. I'll listen to your advice, then, even though I don't know you.
Aang, you are carrying the trauma that I thrust upon you, and I'm sorry. You must take care of the war that I started. I'm also here. Yeah, it's just weird. Now the writers probably had a reason for doing this, because they did not do anything off the cuff. I'm thinking maybe because they were both spiritual beings, that's why they're there, and they figured Monk Gyatso couldn't be there. But I just think Gyatso would have been a better choice, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless or not, Aang is motivated, and he power sails to a nearby island. Remember this island. Remember this
remember
island
the
because
island.
it is important later. I'm not going to say why, but this island shows up again.
Right, okay.
But not soon after that, Momo wakes
Momo.
Aang up. Everybody's
Momo.
found him. It's a reunion.
That's a moment.
Love
it's
it.
a nice
Love
moment.
it. And then I can't remember who hands it to him. I think it was Toph and says, "Hey, here's your glider thingy. Sorry, it's a little busted." And Aang realizes that it is important that everybody thinks he stays dead, and so he puts the glider near the lava flow, and the glider, this thing that we've had since the beginning of the series, catches fire and burns.
Yeah, I thought like you didn't really need to do that.
No, they didn't.
I know it's more symbolic, but you know,
yeah, it's
I'm
Aang's
sure
childhood.
come in handy. Yeah,
it's Aang's childhood going away, basically. My third down.
And there's sadness around that statement,
Yeah,
Jason.
there is.
It infers to me that he's going to, have to grow up really quickly.
He is. It's a 180-degree turn from the kid who wanted to go seal sledding in the first episode. So here's my third down, and it's a stupid animation error. Which honestly, I looked at this episode and I thought, why? Why did that happen?
Whoa. I didn't notice any.
Aang steps on molten lava barefoot.
Does he?
He does.
Oh, wow.
There are little strips of molten lava in that rock, and he steps on them barefoot. Wow, and he does not go, ouch, or anything. He just, maybe he had like air socks on. I don't know. But yeah, he steps on lava barefoot, and nothing happens. Maybe he's firebending already. Who knows?
Who knows? Or they ran out of money and time.
Yeah, I don't know. We can't do a new background. Just put it there. His feet's in fire. I don't care. I don't care. Everybody's going to remember that really great Roku scene. No, what idiot would look at this and think, oh, wow, look at that. He's standing on molten lava. What kind of jerk would give us a down for that?
That's it. I mean, the only person who's going to notice this is going to have to watch at least 3 times.
That would be me. I am that jerk. But yeah, I mean, you got to be really petty to find things wrong with this episode, and I am super petty. But there we go. That's it.
It's for a season opener. It's a banger. It's a good one. It's and you really want a solid first episode to really set the tone, and top marks for that because I'm all in. Bring on episode 2.
You definitely get a sense that the creators, I don't know, the second season finale, you kind of get the idea that they kind of knew where they were going, but not quite. This one, they know exactly where they're going, and they know how to get there. And I think that's one of the strengths of this episode. So it was a great opening to the season. Super duper thumbs up. Sorry about the 3 downs. That was just me being petty. Well, that pretty much wraps up this episode of Breaking Wind, ladies and gentlemen. If you would be so kind, please join our Patreon for as low as $5 a month. There's information on that at the video description below, or you can visit our channel main page and figure out how you can become a channel supporter. Again, for only $5 a month, you get episodes early. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to get this episode early. So hello to our channel supporters. You're getting this. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. Oh, and let me also say hello to everybody who's watching this episode after our early birds.
Hello, future people.
Hello. Hello, cheap people. Getting this episode when you were supposed to, when it was scheduled. How's that $1.99 menu going at Sonic? I eat off the $1.99. I eat off the $1.99 menu at
Sonic. The only Sonic I know is Baloo and the Hedgehog.
Oh, it's a great place here. It's a hamburger place. You stay in your car. They bring the food to you. It's incredible.
It looks like a styrofoam cup.
It is a styrofoam cup because we're Americans. Wow. We don't care about the environment
at all, do you?
No, and the straw is made out of the bones of baby seals.
It's plastic. Like we have wax, like those cardboard wax straws. Even the lids to our drinks now are cardboard. Everything's cardboard.
Well, don't you know that Americans are tough and resilient, and if we get paper straws, we're gonna cry.
They do suck. I do suck.
Oh, they're terrible. But it's one of those things. If that can save a turtle, I'll drink out of a paper straw. No, I can't drink out of the paper straw, and I can't wear a mask because it'll slightly inconvenience me. But I'm gonna pretend to be tough. Anyway,
Okay,
now that
that's a
I've
way to end the
alienated
show.
half the audience, yeah, that's fine. Join us next time for another exciting episode of Breaking Wind, the Last Avatar podcast.
Hopefully sponsored by Sonic soon.
Oh my gosh, yes, Sonic. Nobody hops like Sonic. You know, they actually come to your car and they're in roller skates, and that's the coolest thing ever.
No
Especially
way. It's like Happy Days.
Just like Happy Days, only occasionally they do get hit by cars, which that's fine because you get your meal half off.